You know, when I was thinking about dedicating Adam this morning, uh, I think it's so appropriate, especially to begin this series, shoulder to shoulder, because isn't that kind of like what family's about, standing shoulder to shoulder, right? Kind of work with me on this. Just I do better when you guys are with me. I take way longer if you don't participate. So at the current rate, we might get out of here like 2:30. So anyway, but just so excited for Adam. You know, we've been waiting for Adam for a long time, and I think it's especially cool because uh, I remember Grandma and pastoring her and the talks that we've had, and then uh, little April. She's still not real tall, but little April. It was just kind of a cool time, and then it's great to be able to do multiple generations. See, that's really what the church is supposed to be like. It's about family coming together and helping one another out shoulder to shoulder. I know Loretta's mentioned the baptism. Baptism is a really important part of the life of a believer. What we do in New Life that may be a little bit different is if people say, well, should I get baptized? If Christ has changed your life and you haven't been baptized since Christ has changed your life, that's the person baptized, because that's your story to the world. This is you. That person is gone. A brand new person is who you are now. So that's what baptism is about. Now, the way that we do this is the person that's most spiritually influential in your life could be a family member, a friend, a pastor, whatever, but that's the person that needs to baptize you, okay, because you guys already have this great connection. And so it's a second, third service next week. Now, what we need you to do is we need you to sign up and let us know what's going on. And then there's a card there we want you to fill out, kind of share some of your story just a little bit. And then when you give that card back, we're going to give you a New Life Center t-shirt. Cool? Free? Free's good price. My favorite price, actually, And we want you to be baptized in that t-shirt. Just kind of a cool deal. And just because it's New Life, I just want to kind of throw this disclaimer out there. Please wear something under the t-shirt. Dirty, rotten shame, isn't it? Okay, so hey, this week I had a birthday, and you guys were just so awesome to me, and so I'm 59 years old. What I'm learning about getting older is a lot of things take way longer. I can still do everything that I could. It just takes me a couple, 3 days longer. But anyway, all right. So today's a new series that we're starting today, and we're talking about living shoulder to shoulder, because we were designed to live life together rather than live life separately. That's God's plan. And to kind of get this going a little bit, the last year, a bunch of us guys, we got together and we climbed Mount Whitney, highest point in the continental United States, 14,496 feet. Huge climb. So it's this brutal mountain trail, 12 miles up, takes 2 days. It's jagged rocks and steep drop-offs and cliffs and beautiful scenery. It's incredible, but it's definitely not a walk in the woods. It's hecka hard, super dangerous. And so when we're getting ready to go, I gave the guys a list of things. These are the things that you need to bring besides your personal effects. So things like, they're survival things, like the first aid kit, a compass. You got to bring a knife of some kind, a flashlight, because they're going to get dark. But of all the things we had on the list, the one that got the most questions in the survival things, as I told them, I want them to bring 25 feet of rope. And so they said, I don't understand. What's the rope for? So I told them, in case somebody falls off the trail and needs to be rescued, that's what the rope is for. So they looked at me and said, but if I fall off the trail, how will the rope help me? It won't. I have the gift of encouragement. And so if I fall off the trail, what am I going to do? Hope the other guy brought his rope. Okay? So here's the deal, is that we are in this together. We do better shoulder to shoulder. That's really God's plan. And so that, and we've heard this for years. People say, well, hey, man, I got your back. Or sometimes we've even had to take the lead, or maybe even go in and kind of clean up after somebody else has jacked everything up, right? Isn't it better if we stand shoulder to shoulder than behind one another? God designed us to live this life as a body, not separated. And so life is best lived in circles rather than just simply in rows. And so now here's how this works for a lot of us is as life goes on, well, we take hits. Anybody take a few hits this week? Anybody have a conflict or two with somebody? And have you noticed that well, relationships just get kind of tough all the time, right? And now of all of the hits and the struggles and things that we go through, probably the most difficult are the ones from the people that are close to us. Have you noticed? Aren't those the ones that hurt the worst? Like somebody will say something mean or nasty, like, whoa, where'd that come from? So what we're going to call those today, we're going to call those friendly fire. You like that? Friendly fire. So it's the friendly fire that is just really, really tough to get through. And so it's like, man, why would they do that? So maybe that's what David was thinking. Look at this in Psalm chapter 55 and verse 12. Here's what David said. He said, if an enemy were insulting me, I could endure it. If a foe were raising himself against me, I could hide from him. But it's you, a man like myself, my companion, my close friend. So here's what I'm saying for you and I. It's the people that are closest to us that can actually hurt us the most. Now, here's why I'm saying that. When we open our heart and let somebody in, and we start trusting somebody, and something goes south, and we kind of take a hit to the heart, what happens from that point forward is we close our heart back up, and we stop trusting people. Are you guys with me yet? We stop trusting people. Now, when we stop trusting people, then in order to survive, what we do is now we hold relationships at arm's length. Only let them get so close. And that makes it really hard to live shoulder to shoulder. That's kind of what I'm talking about tonight or today, right? So now here's the deal. So instead of standing together, we kind of stand off by ourselves. Our culture has kind of fed us a line that we buy into that we think is actually of value. Our culture has told us that you need to be independent and you need to be private. That's a terrible idea. Why? Because God created us to be a body, not just somebody. You get this? Now I'm going to explain that in just a minute. So we're created to be this body, and what happens is when we live life in private or we live life totally independent, that pushes us into the shadows. And life's lived in the shadows. Things go on in our life and around us and inside of us where we kind of have these secret sufferings and things don't go well. So now here's what I want you to get. That friendly fire, you probably aren't going to agree with me, but I'm just going to put this out here. I think most of the time, friendly fire is unintentional. Right? I read a story once about this cowboy. He went to the doctor, and the doctor kind of examined him, and he showed him all the scars. And he goes, well, what's that scar from? Well, a horse stepped on my leg. And he showed him another one. Well, what happened there? He goes, that's when I got attacked by wolves. And showed him another. So what happened? That was a snake bite. He goes, man, I thought you said you didn't have any accidents. He goes, no way, they did it on purpose. I know, terrible joke, I know. But see, now I think when we let people in and people hurt us, I don't think it's intentional. And I know that you don't agree with me. Now, the reason I don't think it's intentional, I think what happens is we get close to people and we trust people, we start letting our guard down. And we let our guard down, our character flaws sometimes sabotage relationships because we're relaxed around them. So we let our guard down, and then our character flaws kind of surface, and those are the character flaws sometimes that messes up life. Anybody ever do that? I need some friends, right? I'm just curious. Have you ever felt comfortable in a relationship and something come out of your mouth and you go, oops? Anybody ever do that? And you're hoping nobody noticed, but then you look around the room and everybody's, did you just say that? And see, what happens is when we let our guard down, those flaws in our character come to the surface, and it's those flaws in our character that produce friendly fire. Are you with me? Okay? Now, I'm not saying that it's okay. As a matter of fact, I'm not even telling you that you need to let this person back in. Here's the deal. Instead of maybe just trying to reconcile the relationship or put things back together, how about if there's a divide? How about if we put Jesus inside? How about if we put Jesus between us and see if he can kind of heal that wound? So I think that's what can help us to live shoulder to shoulder, right? Now, when we struggle at arm's length and we can't live shoulder to shoulder, here's what I'm saying for us today. The giant stuff in our life can exploit our weak areas. Now listen, this is definitely the most important part of today. When we are isolated from people and we kind of live life at arm's length and we're not standing shoulder to shoulder, you're going to have days when you're not strong. Anybody have days you're not strong? You're going to have days that just don't go well. You might even have days when you really struggle to have an attitude that people can endure. I think that was a really good way to say that, don't you? Yeah, I think I'm going to write that one down. I like that one. And so what happens is you're going to have days when your weaknesses come to the surface. And if you're living life where everything is at arm's distance and you're not living shoulder to shoulder, the enemy of your soul, the giant stuff in your life, will exploit those weaknesses. There's a story in 2 Samuel chapter 21. It goes from verse 15 to like verse 17. Here's what it says. It says that David and his men went out to battle the Philistines. And get this. Here's what it says. David became weak or tired, wore out in the battle. Anybody just ever get tired? Just tired of the battle, tired of the fighting, tired of the drama? Am I talking to anybody yet? You get tired of this stuff? It's like, oh God, you know. And there'll be times, and this isn't to say something bad, but after like it's been a really long week and it's late in the evening, and Loretta said, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? Oh, please. Because sometimes we just get wore out. We just get tired. David became weary in the battle. And a son of the giant by the name of Ishbi-Benob, here's what it says, thought he could kill David. Okay? He thought he could kill David. But see, because David was standing shoulder to shoulder with his men, the guy that was standing on his side, Abishai, came to his defense and killed the giant on his behalf. Isn't that cool? Now here's the deal. When we're not standing shoulder to shoulder and the giant stuff pops up in our life, it can exploit our weaknesses. When Abishai told David, he said, look, if you go out by yourself, it will extinguish the flame. We need to stand shoulder to shoulder. We need one another. We need to have our lives live together. Now, sometimes the giant stuff comes up and it tries to snuff out the lamp, this kind of stuff. Don't be deceived into believing that you can live life independent or that you can live this life in private. I'm telling you, that sets you up for failure because God really didn't make it that way. So when the battle goes poorly, you're not going to have the strength to be able to fight that battle, and the giant stuff will take you out. Okay. Now, let me kind of finish this up. It was in World War II. I don't know if you guys know the history a little bit, but we were losing World War II. We were losing. The Allies were not doing well between the Japanese and the Germans. I mean, it was going bad. And if not for a few lucky breaks, we might be speaking a different language. And I'm not talking Spanish either. I mean, this just it could be really different. And so, because of a lucky break, the whole tide turned. Because there was a general by the name of Rommel, who was a German general. He was in charge of the tank division, and he was basically kicking our butt royal. Anybody know the history a little bit? And he would just kind of just wiping everybody out. So he was taking a long trip to conquer another part of the world, and he outran his supplies. Basically what happened is he ran out of gas. Seriously. Literally ran out of gas and lost the war. So here's what I'm saying for you and I. This is even what happened to David in that battle. Sometimes we're just fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. And sometimes we do get exhausted. If you're too far away from the source of your strength, you'll become a casualty and you'll lose the war. Families will crumble. Battles will be lost. There's too much on the line. You are way too important to try to fight this battle on your own and run out of strength and loose. You're going to have days when you get tired. Everybody does. And it's those that are standing next to you. That's going to be the difference maker. Have people tell me, well, it's okay because I got my family. I mean, let's be realistic, okay? Aren't there days when you don't even like them people? I mean, really. It's there, I said it, right? I mean, aren't those days when you're glad to go to work? You know the days. Hey, days when I talk about this kind of stuff, if you just look straight forward, just do this. Then we'll think of somebody else, right? But see, it's those that are standing shoulder to shoulder with you. We need the Abishais that are standing next to us. We need people that are in that battle with us, that can come alongside of us on those days when we're weak and the days when it isn't going very well. That will say, hey, look, let me help you kill the giant stuff in your life. Let me help kind of get you back on your feet. Let me help fight this battle for you because we don't want you to be a casualty. You are way too important for this battle to go bad. Is this making sense? It's a big deal. We get too far from the structure. We were created to stand together, not stand alone. And it's not that, and again, I don't want you to let dangerous situations back in your life. That's not what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, let me just kind of throw this out there. If you are in an abusive relationship, get out now. Get out now. Okay? That good? Ladies, if somebody's socking you in the head, let us know. We'll sock them back. Right? You guys good with that? Right? If somebody is just being just mean and nasty, you got to get some help, man. So I'm not talking about putting yourself back in that situation, but what I'm talking about is we need people standing beside us because sometimes somebody's got to hold us up. Does this make any sense yet? And because you're one of us. Now, I'm going to finish with this. Stories in Mark chapter 2. People heard that Jesus was in this house. And here's what the scripture says, that people just started coming. And so many people showed up, there wasn't any more room to get in. He said there wasn't even room to get even through the door. And there was this guy who was paralyzed. He was carried by 4 friends. And they wouldn't let him in the door. You ever notice that when people are in line, nobody takes cuts? Right? So they weren't going to let him take cuts. So the way that this story unfolds is, sometimes there's some people that are really bold and they can get people's attention. So they just like say something. How many of you guys know people that can meet somebody and talk to anybody? And anybody know somebody like that? How many of you guys are not like that? Yeah. Well, see, there's a guy named what was the guy's name? I forgot now. Shoot. Bartimaeus. He cried out really loud. He got Jesus' attention. And there's a woman that had been bleeding for 12 years, and she was desperate enough where she reached out got God's attention. There's another guy that his name was Zacchaeus, and he stood out and got God's attention. But see, here's the deal. Sometimes we can't get God's attention. Because this guy that these friends carried, the scripture says he was paralyzed. Here's where I want to finish with this today. Sometimes things happen in our lives that relationally paralyze us. That spiritually paralyze us. What I mean by paralyze is you don't know what to do. You don't know how to respond. You don't know how to fix it. You don't even know what to say. So the solution is we hold everything at arm's length, hoping it'll get better. So this paralyzed man, there's no way he could do this on his own. But he had 4 friends carry him. And these are some really good friends. Because when they couldn't get in the door, they got an idea where they went up on the roof and they started tearing the tiles off the roof. Don't you know that'll get people's attention? Where do you get friends like that? Friends that are willing to carry you. Those relationships are forged in service and sacrifice. This is an important part of what I'm talking about today. Outside, under the New Life tent sign, there's a table out there with sign-up sheets on it. You need to get involved. Be a part of something. Because it's when we serve together, when we're a small group together, it's when we're living in and out day to day with one another. That's where the stories are shared. That's where the important stuff happens. In those areas of service and sacrifice. And so we have to be a part of that. You know, people say, well, I'm not ready for that. Oh, shut up, you big baby. Just do something. Because those are the relationships where people show up for you. They show up with you. Those are the relationships where Abishai comes alongside of you and said, hey, let me take the giant stuff out for you. Those are the relationships. So that's what these four friends are like. So they're tearing off the roof. And remember, this house is crowded. Nobody else can get in. And as they're tearing off the roof, can you picture this where inside the house, the dust is beginning to fall? Can you picture that? They hear a noise, and it gets everybody's attention, so everything kind of stops as they look up. And as they look up, a small shaft of light hits the floor right in front of where Jesus is. And that light gets bigger and bigger. And pretty soon, that light goes dark as this figure is lowered through the hole. And as it gets to the floor, there's the paralyzed man laying there right in front of Jesus. See, people wonder, well, how long do I got to carry them? You just got to get them to Jesus, man. That's all you got to do. Once you get them to Jesus, he'll take over. He'll take care of this, right? So this lame man laid there right in front of Jesus, and everybody just kind of in awe. He's just laying there. And of course, after he clears the hole and he's laying there, this beam of light actually covers this entire pallet where this man is laying. And in just a few seconds, the light goes dark again. And people look up and they see four faces looking over the hole. We got you to Jesus. We got you the help you need. I love the way that Jesus responded. He points to the guys on the roof looking through the hole. And I just got this great imagination. I just see them looking over the hole with this big, stupid grin on their face. Yeah, right? And Jesus says, because of their faith, you get a miracle. Here's where I want to finish today. I know that there's people here today that are victims of friendly fire. Stuff that happened with people that you love deeply, and it's like, wow, man, I can't believe it went that direction. Or things were said or things were done, and you're trying to get past that. Am I right? Like, that's just, every time I see their face or every time we have a conversation, my stomach gets tight. It's like, oh, here we go. Friendly fire. And when I said it's unintentional, you have a hard time believing me. Matter of fact, you don't believe me. You go, heck no, Pastor Dave. They meant it. They meant every word of it. So here's the deal. You have a choice to make today. You can be the victim of friendly fire, or you can be the victor over offense. That's entirely up to you. I choose not to be a victim. I choose to be a victor. I choose to not be the tail. I choose to be the head. I don't want to be the borrower. I want to be the lender. I want to be above and not beneath. You get what I'm saying? I choose for God to put me over the top rather than go under. Am I talking to the right kind of people today? Yes, you may be the victim of friendly fire. Yes, it may have really just absolutely wounded your heart. Yes, you might feel like you don't trust anybody anymore. Yes, you might feel like, I don't know how I'm going to get past this. But here's what I'm saying. Somebody brought you to where Jesus is today. Jesus is in the house. You've been lowered down into the light, and some friends have been praying for you. You are here today. Today, God has set you up for a miracle. This is your day. Yeah, it hurts. You totally understand that relational paralysis. You get it. Matter of fact, some of you guys would describe what you're feeling right now as numb. Jesus is in the house. And today is a day for miracles. Could I get you to bow your heads and close your eyes for just a moment, please? Shoulder to shoulder. Friends, today, you have some friends here in God's house. Somebody prayed for you. Somebody cares about you. Somebody loves you. I'm going to say it this way because I think this is important for us today. Because the trust is so fragile in your life right now, we're not going to ask you to do anything publicly at all, okay? Fair? But if you're sitting here today and you're wrestling with trusting people, you say, you know what, Pastor Dave, I don't know, man. I can't trust people. I'm careful because I've been burned so many times. People have taken advantage. I've shown people generosity and love people, and it's not gone well with me. And I just want God to heal that stuff inside of me. If that's you, all I want you to do while nobody's looking around is just raise your hand real quick. Say it. Pray for me, Pastor. That's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Second thing, it's in a relationship. Man, something happened. Things went ugly south. Like, wow, what the heck? And you feel like you're relationally paralyzed. You don't know what to do. You don't have any answers. Is that you? Just raise your hands. Say, pray for me, Pastor. Pray for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Last thing, spiritually. Feel like you're stuck. I got to get out of this funk. Got to get past some stuff. If that's you, just raise your hand. Say, that's me, Pastor. Pray for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Could y'all stand this morning, please? Shoulder to shoulder. See, I don't expect the people standing by me to always have the answers. Sometimes the best part is just that they're just standing by me, right? That's it. So that's why I'm glad you're here. So our prayer partners are up here, and I know sometimes you just need somebody to be a friend. You know, something about New Life, you guys probably already know this. On my part, I try really, really hard to let everybody possible know that I'm your friend. I really honestly am. Now, just to be clear, I'm not the one you borrow money from, not that guy. You know. We're buzzed, just not that kind, right? I'm not your babysitter either. People have asked. I just tell them, you know, I'll loan you some chain. You can put them in the yard. We're good. I'm just kidding. But anyway. But really, you have friends here. There's no reason for you to fight the battle alone on your weekdays. No reason. And I know there's people here that there's medical issues and there's family issues, there's relationship issues, and I know there's people here where you've lost people that you love deeply and you still haven't healed from that. I get that completely. That's why we stand shoulder to shoulder. The best way to do that, guys, honestly, get involved. Push yourself. I think you'll be surprised. Okay? Our prayer partners are up here. We want the opportunity to pray with you, okay? Is it good to be in God's house or what? Good to be in God's house.